Hey everybody, it's Dr. Denise Dennis. I'm the Chief Webinar Strategist at Win with Webinars. I'm also the founder of the Webinar Junkies Facebook group. If you have any interest in doing webinars, I invite you to come on over to Webinar Junkies, where I'm always sharing tips, tools, and techniques for getting your webinar up and running quickly and easily. I was just working on some videos for students in one of my webinar training programs that I offer, and I was working on explaining to them what needs to go on a webinar registration page, and I thought I would come on live and share with all of you some of the things that I'm sharing with them. So these are just some of the do's and don'ts for a webinar registration page. So first, let's talk about the do's. Number one, you want to make sure that your webinar registration page focuses on the viewer's pain points and benefits. Pain points for them and the benefits to them. So in terms of pain points, you want to make sure you're using language that talks about, have you struggled with losing weight? Are you confused by the webinar technology? Are you tired of getting to the end of the day and being tired? Just what is it that is their pain point, that thing that's really bothering them, that's keeping them up at night? And then talk about how on this webinar, you will learn and be able to talk about the benefits that they'll get from that webinar. So not just that you're going to talk about the top 3 tips to whatever, even though you should be, and we can talk about that another time, but what are they going to get as a result of attending that webinar? You will learn how to finally lose weight easily while eating food you love. Things that talk to the benefits they're going to get from attending that webinar. So that's do number one. Make sure that you are talking about pain points and talking about benefits. Number 2, you want to make sure that you have a call to action button placed at least 2 places on that webinar registration page. The first place is what we call above the fold, which makes absolutely no sense in an online environment, but that refers to back in the old days when we used to read newspapers, which we should still be doing. On a newspaper, the newspaper's usually folded. The first part, the part that you see first, that has the big headline, we call that above the fold. So you want your sign up button to be above the fold, meaning on the screen, the part of the screen they see when they first hit that registration page. Without them having to scroll up, there's a button right there for them to sign up. And you're going to want to use language on that button like reserve my seat or sign up now, something that encourages them to press that button. You're going to want it at the top. And then you're also going to want it at least one more time on that page, if not 2 more times. So make sure you have a sign up button multiple times on your page, and make sure that it is at least above the fold, meaning on the first part of your registration page. And then number 3, the third do that I wanted to share is that you want to make sure you include relevant images and video. So relevant images, meaning make sure that the picture that you're showing on your registration page, if you're using a picture, a photograph, is something that makes sense, that is moving the story along, that speaks to their pain points. And then you also, if you have time, which I encourage you to do, you also want to include a video. So you should have a video of you where you're welcoming people, where they get a chance to know you a little bit, where particularly, hi, Dr. Talisha, where they get a chance to know you a little bit, and where they get to see a little bit of your expertise, your quirkiness. Like, I'm kind of quirky, that's fine. So they get a chance to see all of that, and it's like, oh yeah, I want to hear a little bit more about this person. Let me go ahead and sign up. So it's just building that bond, that rapport right from the beginning. So those are the 3 do's. Now on the don't side, what shouldn't you do on your webinar registration page? Number 1, don't be wordy. You don't have to have a bunch of content on the webinar registration page. And you don't want to have paragraph after paragraph after paragraph after paragraph. I would encourage you to have bullet points, speaking to their pain points, speaking to those benefits. You can still have paragraphs because some of your readers are going to want those details, but other people are going to want to just get that kind of hit it and quit it kind of give them the information, and so they can make their decision and be gone. So don't be too wordy. Number two, don't request information that you do not need. This is not a census. It's not a survey. You need to know, at the very least, you need to know their email address, because that's the whole point. You're trying to build your list and you want to be able to give them the confirmation and anything that comes after that. And what I like to collect is also their first name, because I want to be able to send their emails out to not just say, hey, friend, but I want it to say, hey, Fred, or hey, Felicia, and call them by name. Beyond that, you really don't need additional information. There's no need to ask them for their last name unless your webinar platform requires that. But, in that moment, why do you need to know their last name? You don't. There's no need to ask them for their phone number unless you have a text messaging system where you're going to send them a reminder text about the webinar, or if you are literally going to get on the phone and call them before the webinar to invite them, remind them about the upcoming webinar. But other than that, there's no reason to gather that information up on the registration page. And I stress this because people don't, they're still getting to know you. They don't know you yet. So they don't want to give you all of their personal information. They only need to give you first name, email address, and that's it. So don't ask for information that you're not going to use. And then third, this is so important. Don't forget to test everything. Meaning, once you have everything all set up, then go through and sign up for your own webinar and make sure things work the way that you think that they're going to work. Make sure that the confirmation email that goes out is for this webinar and you didn't accidentally connect it to your confirmation for your last webinar that already happened. Make sure that it sends them to the right thank you page and that the video is working on the thank you page. So just test everything as a participant, as somebody who registered might see it, so that you know that everything's working smoothly. Now, if there are a lot of moving pieces to putting together a webinar, which is why I am creating these videos that I mentioned for students in my class. If you are interested in learning the tech part of doing a webinar, then I want to encourage you to sign up for my program. It's called What the Tech, and it's all about giving you simple solutions to handling the tech part of doing a successful webinar. So if that sounds like something you might be interested in, head on over to joinwhatthetech.com. You can get all the information there, and I would love to have you in there. And just during this period when I'm offering this program, I'm actually meeting with people live in group sessions as well as the on-demand session. So you actually get me to get your tech questions answered in real time. Alrighty, that's it. Once again, I'm Dr. Denise Dennis of Win with Webinars. I'm also the founder of the Webinar Junkies Facebook group. Come on over to the Webinar Junkies. We'd love to have you, and I will talk to you all again soon. Bye.